Today we are completing the surface lure trilogy. We have already covered the walk the dog stickbait and the popper, and now it is time for the final piece of the puzzle, the plopper. There is a lot of debate around this lure. Some anglers say it never gets bit and it is just a gimmick. Others swear by it. Today we are going to settle every question about surface ploppers once and for all. By the end of this video, beginners will go from zero to confident, and experienced anglers will see this lure in a whole new light. First, let us define what we are talking about. There are two main types of ploppers on the market. The first is the plastic-bodied plopper, typified by the iconic Whopper Plopper. These have a hollow or solid plastic body with a rotating tail prop, either single or double-bladed, and they float at rest. On a steady retrieve, the prop churns the surface, producing a gurgling, bubbling sound that is smooth and consistent. The action is stable, the lure tracks straight, and because it floats, you can crawl it painfully slow, or you can pop it with short twitches to mimic a popper-style action. These are incredibly beginner-friendly, especially around weed edges and in calm water. Downsides? Plastic bodies tend to be bulky, which hurts casting distance. The tail hardware can seize up over time, and toothy fish like pike will shred the body. Once water gets inside, the lure loses buoyancy. The second category is the metal-bladed plopper, sometimes called a buzzbait-style plopper. These use a metal frame with a lead head and a spinning metal blade. The sound is much sharper and more aggressive, a high-pitched clacking that cuts through wind and chop. These shine in rough water, windy conditions, and around heavy cover where the single hook design resists snags. But the downsides are real, they sink on the paws, requiring a faster retrieve to keep them on top. They are less forgiving for beginners but incredibly durable and built to handle big, angry fish. Now here is the question everyone asks: does all that noise and commotion actually attract fish, or does it just spook them? The answer is that it absolutely attracts fish, and it is not random luck. It is engineered to match a base's sensory system with precision. 4 things are happening at once. Number 1, long-range sensory lock. A fish's lateral line detects subtle changes in water displacement. The sustained, rhythmic rotation of that prop creates a consistent vibration pattern that a base can pinpoint from dozens of yards away, even in muddy or dark water. Number 2, a triple-layered feeding stimulus. The prop generates low-frequency sound waves, a continuous water trail, and a surface disturbance, all happening simultaneously. This trio perfectly mimics the signature of a wounded baitfish struggling on the surface, a fleeing frog or rodent crossing the water, or a panicked insect. It hijacks the base's feeding instinct. Number 3, territorial and defensive strikes. For species like largemouth bass and snakehead, that persistent surface disturbance reads as an intruder. Even when the fish is not feeding, it may charge and attack just to drive the invader out. This is why ploppers produce such explosive blow-ups along weed lines and structure edges. Number 4, the secret of high hookup ratios. A plopper on a steady retrieve moves in a straight, predictable path. Unlike a walk-the-dog bait that zigzags or a popper that pops and stalls, the plopper gives the base a perfectly telegraphed target. The fish rarely misses, and the strike-to-hookup ratio is far higher than with any other surface lure. Now, what about pressured fish? Fish that have been hammered by walk-the-dog baits and poppers day after day learn to recognize those patterns and become wary. The plopper's continuous, grinding surface disturbance is different enough to bypass that learned caution. When fishing pressured fish, go with a smaller plastic plopper, 4 to 6 centimeters, 5 to 10 grams. The smaller prop produces less noise, with a softer, more natural vibration that does not overwhelm a wary fish. Retrieve it painfully slow, just fast enough to keep the blade turning. If fish are following but not committing, throw in an occasional 1-second pause. That brief stop often gives the fish the window it needs to strike. Target low light periods, dawn, dusk, or overcast days, and slightly stained water to further reduce a fish's guard. You might be thinking, a popper and a walk-the-dog bait can do all of this too. So what is the plopper really for? Is it just an expensive gimmick? Here is the reality. For a beginner, the plopper's barrier to entry is rock bottom. You simply reel it in at a steady pace and it delivers a perfect, fish-catching action. It takes about 1 minute to learn. Compare that to a popper, where the wrong rod twitch buries the nose and kills the action, or a walking bait, where sloppy cadence turns it into a straight-line retrieve with zero fish appeal. The plopper's search efficiency is unmatched among surface lures. Because you do not need to pause or pop it, you can cover water roughly 3 times faster than with a popper or a walk-the-dog bait. When you are on new water trying to locate fish, that speed is invaluable. Its stability and forgiveness are also off the charts. Fast, slow, the plopper tracks straight and keeps the prop spinning. A popper or walking bait operated poorly is dead in the water. And the consistent hookup ratio is a major factor. Popper and walking bait strikes are often reaction bites where the fish swipes at the lure's path. Misses are common. The plopper's steady, straight trajectory lets the fish line up and inhale it. The bites are violent, the hook sets are clean, and the connection rate is high. If you are looking to buy your first plopper, here is my advice. Start small. A 7 to 15 gram, double-bladed plastic plopper is your best entry point. Avoid the metal frame ploppers as a beginner. The plastic double prop models start spinning at low speeds and do not sink on the pause. Do not grab the cheapest knockoff on the shelf. Budget ploppers almost always have prop binding issues, they roll or flip on the retrieve, and the hooks are garbage. A double prop model with a symmetrical blade layout spins up effortlessly and tracks true at slow speeds, which is exactly what a beginner needs. Gear-wise, the plopper is forgiving. Any rod and reel combo rated for the lure weight will work. Now let us talk about the best scenarios for a plopper. Condition number 1, water temperature above about 20 degrees Celsius, or roughly 68 Fahrenheit. Baits need to be in an active, warm water metabolism for surface lures to shine. Number 2, grass edges and weed lines. This is the plopper's natural habitat. Bass and snakehead tuck into the weeds waiting to ambush. The plopper's surface noise and vibration call them out, triggering both territorial and feeding strikes. Burn it parallel to the weed edge and hold on. Number 3, shallow flats and flooded cover. After dark or during low-light windows, bass push up into the shallows to feed on insects and small bayfish. The plopper's continuous vibration and sound sweep across the flat quickly, calling fish up from the depths. Number 4, muddy or stained water around structure. When visibility is low, bass rely almost entirely on their lateral line and hearing to locate prey. A popper's intermittent splash or a walking bait's sporadic movement is much harder for a fish to track in murky water. The plopper's constant, rhythmic pulse provides a beacon that bass can follow from a distance and crush on arrival. In dirty water around docks, riprap, and bridge pilings, the plopper is often the best surface choice you can make. If surface explosions get your heart pumping, save this information and review it before your next trip. And if you have questions about surface lures or anything else in bass fishing, drop them in the comments below.